Every country has its own traditions and its own ways of life. But there's one thing in common that every country has, which is that they all use money. If you're watching this video, most likely you're dealing with money every single day. When you live in a place for a long time, I think dealing with money can be very easy because it becomes very intuitive. You know exactly what things cost. However, when you're traveling internationally, it becomes a different story because you are dealing with a different currency and new exchange rates, etc. And that is why today we're going to talk about money, and specifically we're talking about money in Indonesia. In Indonesia, people use the Indonesian rupiah, which is IDR in short. And also, the exchange rate can be very dramatic because $1 is equivalent to roughly around 15,000 IDR, which sounds crazy, and it can create a lot of confusion. It definitely created a lot of confusion for the both of us when we just came here.
Personally, I have so many funny mistakes from dealing with this whole cash thing and always trying to exchange it to the currency that I'm used to. There was one time where I was in the store and I was due to pay 50k, and I confidently gave the lady 5k, and she looked at me with this kind of wide eyes and she was like, 50k? And I was like, yeah, that's what I just gave you. Only after standing there for a couple of seconds did I realize that I've obviously given her the wrong money, and I just kind of took all the cash out of my wallet and was like, here, take what you need.
Take them all.
Take it all. And she nicely took what she needed and then gave me change. And after actually going through this scenario many times and making this mistake so many times, I've realized that the locals here are so understanding, and they know that we are a bit confused with the currency, and they never take advantage of the situation. But with that being said, I would suggest that you familiarize yourself with the notes so that you do know what's going on, so that you don't get caught, first of all, in the same embarrassing and funny situation, and also that nobody takes advantage of you. When you're in a new country, you're always dealing with a new currency and a new exchange rate. That's why it's going to be better for you to download an exchange app so that you can check what the latest exchange rate is. Here in Bali, there are tons of exchange houses where you can just go there and exchange your cash. There are some good ones and there are some rather sketchy ones. The general rule of thumb is to look for an exchange house that has the exchange rates all outside on a board, and that it also states no commission and authorized exchange house.
Without charging you a commission, how they make money is actually they are gonna give you a lower exchange rate compared to the official rate. So basically, when you give them a pile of money, you're gonna get less money in return. That's how they make money. And that is why we have an exchange rate app, and by comparing the rates, you will know exactly how much money you're losing. Basically, that's the money you're paying for the service. And also, when it comes to exchange centers, there's a rule of thumb to avoid being scammed, which is that you need to make sure that you are the last one to count your money. Because a lot of times we hear stories that when people go into the exchange rates centers and then they realize, oh, I'm getting less money, it's because that if you're going to an unofficial exchange center, those people, when they give you the money, they will give you some excuse to double check the money for you. But during that process, they're gonna distract you, and then they're gonna take some notes away from the pile of money. If you are not the last one to count it, then you're gonna walk out with way less money than you should have. So that's why no matter what scenario, you can let them to double check the money for you, but make sure that you are the last one to count your money that you are gonna take away. Otherwise, you are gonna have a higher chance of being scammed. So that is the tips that we have for the exchange centers. However, to exchange money is not the best way to get the local notes.
The better option is to actually draw money straight from the ATM with your credit card or your debit card. This way you know that it's the latest exchange rate and the transaction fee is flat, so it's all transparent. Talking about ATMs, we've also read a lot of stories online where people are being scammed, or their cards being read, or even their cards being swallowed. So when we normally go draw money from an ATM, we make sure that it's an ATM inside of a convenience store or outside of a bank. This way you know that the machines are not tampered with and they've been watched pretty much 24/7.
Our preferred ATMs here in Bali are Permata and also Commonwealth. And between those two, we prefer Commonwealth much more than Permata, simply because they have a much lower transaction fee. And if you're in Bali, you're gonna withdraw money a lot. It's simply because cash is used everywhere. Some places only accept certain cards, and some places are cash only. So you will need cash everywhere you go. And also, if you're planning a trip to somewhere, you have to make sure that you have sufficient amount of cash, because not every ATM works with your card. For example, we just came back from Nusa Penida. Nusa Penida, baby!
What are you saying all the time?
We have around 10 people on the trip, and 7 of our friends couldn't withdraw cash on the island, no matter what kind of cards they were using. So that's just the reality of Indonesia or Bali in general. So just make sure that you are prepared for whatever you do, and cash is everywhere and you have to have enough of it.
So to sum it all up, cash is king. Be careful for the scams, and we hope you found this video useful. If there's anything else you want to know, comment it down below and we'll get back to you. Otherwise, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.